Hello, and welcome to the What Matters to Me and Why series at UCI Health. My name is Terrence Mays. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Inclusion for the Susan and Henry Samueli College of Health Sciences. And I have the pleasure of sitting here with Dr. Cynthia Hawk, Chair of our Department of Family Medicine. Thank you for being here, Dr. Hawk.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to ask you, as you reflect on your life, both past and present, what do the words equity, diversity, and inclusion mean to you?
So, what equity means to me is that everyone has a chance to thrive. Everyone has a chance to be healthy and the same opportunities to thrive. What about diversity and inclusion? I had the chance, really the privilege, of being raised between two cultures. My father came from India, my mother from Indiana, and so I got to be the insider-outsider as I was growing up. And I was exposed to so many different people from our travel around the world. For me, this was an absolute delight because I found that there are many different ways of being, seeing, and operating in the world, and there's no right or wrong. There are different points of view. In my opinion, when we have diversity in the workforce, particularly for health professionals, it makes us more able to do a better job. It enables us to be able to serve diverse patients in a culturally appropriate and respectful way. There are so many different types of people and cultures and norms that it's impossible to learn all of them, but it's important that we try to learn some of them so that we can make our patients feel welcome, make our learners feel welcome, so that everyone knows that they matter, that they have the respect and dignity that they deserve. My life has been full of opportunities to work in so many different places, certainly in the United States, in rural and urban areas. I've worked abroad in Africa, Asia, Latin America, Europe. And it's been so fascinating to see the different ways that people organize their lives and even their health systems, and to know that there's not just one way to do things, but there's a wide swath of opportunities. And as we work together, as we invite more diversity into the workplace, we're able to create spaces where everyone feels welcome, valued, and appreciated. I'll also say that it's quite natural that we all have our own biases. And I certainly saw that in my own family growing up, in which both my mother and father faced prejudice, stereotypes, and assumptions about who they were and how they were based on the way they looked. It was important for me to try to learn from that experience so that I would not instantly judge people simply by the way they look, but taking time to get to know them and their underlying values and getting to know what's important to them. And certainly as a family doctor, it's so important that I try to maintain that open mind and get to know people, because then as patients, they become more trusting of me. And they know that I'm really trying to act in their best interests. I'm trying to guide them towards decisions that will improve their health in a way that's not judgmental, but actually appreciating their unique qualities and characteristics. I think it's also important, I've tried to notice my own biases, because it's easy for me to jump to conclusions when I see a particular type of patient or person, and to fast forward into making assumptions about that person before I've really given them time and us time to get to know one another. So paying attention, trying to notice if I'm jumping to those kinds of conclusions in an interaction, it helps me put the brakes on. I'm sure I still tend to do it because we're wired up this way, to make fast judgments about people based on first impressions, even in the first few seconds. Part of my training has been to deliberately live and work in places where I'm exposed to a variety of different types of people. It's one of the reasons I was attracted to go and work in Uganda early in my career. It was an area of the world I didn't know much about, and I felt that by going there and living and working there, I would learn a great deal. And indeed, that experience has enriched my entire career. So taking the time to look for something different, to expose yourself to different points of view, I think for me has been a way that I've been able to learn about others. I'll also say that while I have a high level of respect for different points of view and cultural practices, it's also important to recognize that in some cases, cultural practices can be damaging. They can be restrictive. They can be very limiting to the people that are within that culture. So for instance, I've lived and worked in areas where women are subjected to genital mutilation. They're circumcised at a young age. And how do we begin to recognize that that might be a historic cultural practice, but practices can change as we get new information. And we can actually begin to shape cultural transitions to be more health promoting, more empowering for the people within that culture, so that they have the opportunity to grow and learn and to reach their own highest potential. In regards to equity, I think it's important that we remember that there are many groups of people who have been historically disadvantaged. They haven't had the same opportunities as other groups. When we think about equity, this requires us to pay more attention where the needs are greatest and where the differences are bigger.
Dr. Hawk, thank you again for your time. This was great. And thank you for watching, and I hope you'll stay tuned to view Dr. Hawk's full lecture on what matters to her and why.